Alright, what's up everyone, I'm Filoki, and today we're going to be taking a look at a little bit of a preview, some predictions, and also something else pretty spicy later on in the video for the Seattle Seahawks Colts Week 1 season opener. And really, just to get things started, first things first, we got to know who's playing in the game. Now, when it comes to injuries for the Colts, it's not looking too good. For the Seahawks, we're quite dandy. Now, to start off with the Colts, Carson Wentz will be playing in this game. It wasn't expected a few weeks ago when the initial report came out that he had his foot injury. It was expected that he was going to be missing quite a while, but he came back full participant throughout this week's practice. He's going to be playing in this game. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for the Colts because Carson Wentz last year did not look great, but he does have Frank Reich back on his side. When he was with him in Philadelphia, Carson Wentz looked very good, but then he got injured. Frank Reich left, I'm pretty sure, and then Carson Wentz just hasn't looked great since. So we'll have to see what goes on with that. That could be a really interesting thing to watch, just for this game and throughout the entirety of the season for Carson Wentz. But continuing on with the injuries for the Colts, we got Xavier Rhodes, who is out. That's going to be a little bit better for us when it comes to passing the football because you got one of the better corners on their team out for this game. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, maybe someone like Dwayne Eskridge, a little bit easier time for those guys. And when it comes to the offensive line, some interesting stuff. Quentin Nelson is questionable, but he did participate fully last practice for them. So to be completely honest, he might play. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him out week 1. You want to start off strong, but you don't want your best offensive lineman getting hurt for the rest of the season. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he does play because the coach for the Colts seemed very into you gotta win week 1. Like week 1 is super important. You have to win, must win game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to get Quentin Nelson to play, but maybe on a little bit more limited of snaps. Maybe he takes a little bit more rest than he usually would. Eric Fisher is also out. I believe he's a starter. He's out for this game, so that's going to be a pretty big loss for them. And then Danny Printer, I don't think he's a starter for them. Doesn't really matter too much. But everyone else seems like they're doing pretty well. Paris Campbell is going to be playing. And when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks, now, some very good news for the Seahawks. No one's injured. No status coming into the game for any of these guys. We had Dwayne Brown, not participate, Gabe Jackson not participate, but that's probably more rest than anything. DK Metcalf, limited participation, probably more rest than anything. No statuses, no one's questionable, no one's out. We're A-okay, other than the guys on injured reserve. But with the injuries out of the way, what's really going to be interesting for this game, I believe the main storyline for this game, on the Seahawks side at least, because I think the main storyline is going to be Carson Wentz, Frank Reich, how is he going to do with this whole new situation. But for the Seahawks' sake, I think the biggest thing for us is going to be the Shane Waldron offense. We haven't seen the Shane Waldron offense really show any signs of what it can do. And even if we saw a little bit of signs, it's with only backups. We haven't seen Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. We haven't seen them boys going crazy with the Shane Waldron offense. Now, it's a completely new offense. I wouldn't be surprised by any means if it starts out really slow for the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe the first quarter, we really struggle. A lot of miscommunications, maybe some bad blocks, some missed reads by Russell Wilson, the running back, wide receiver, whatever goes the other way. I wouldn't be surprised if we start off slow, but I think this will be a good game for us. Now, I'm very hopeful for this game, mainly because I want to, see the Seahawks do good. I want to have an entertaining game, but I just don't want to see the Seahawks, struggle. I don't want to see us run, pass. I would like to see us run, though. I'm not saying I just want us to pass the ball like crazy. Chris Carson, he is a great running back. He's come into this season. He looks like he is in the greatest possible shape ever. We've seen some crazy workout videos from him throughout the offseason. So I think Chris Carson, he can be a force to be reckoned with. I think that, Russell Wilson, it's going to be interesting to see how he does with a better offensive line. In theory, we'll have to see how the offensive line does, but with Gabe Jackson, Dwayne Brown, Brandon Shell, Damian Lewis, and whoever's going to be starting at center for us, it's looking pretty good, to be completely honest. I'm excited to see, hopefully, our offensive line not get eaten up by the solid guys that the Colts have in their pass rush. Guys like DeForest Buckner, who can really cause some problems if they're left unchecked, but, hopefully we'll have some pretty good protection for Russell Wilson. We'll be able to show what the Shane Waldron offense can do. Everything hopefully will go right for the Seahawks, but defensively, I believe this is the biggest question mark of the game. The Seahawks defense versus the Colts offense. Now, we know the Seahawks offense is going to be very good. We know the Colts defense is going to be pretty gosh darn good too. So that's going to be a clash of the Titans basically. But the Seahawks defense versus the Colts offense is going to be interesting in my opinion, mainly because Carson Wentz, we don't know if he's going to do good or bad, and the Seahawks corners, we don't know if they're going to be good or bad. I believe that there were reports that came out that said Trey Flowers was going to be a starter for this game at corner. And I'm going to be honest, it's not really giving me too much hope when it comes to our defense, or at least our corner group for this game. But, our pass rush has really shown out throughout the preseason. Of course, we have the best linebacker in the league, arguably, and then some other really good linebackers around him. Best safety duo in the league, in my humble opinion. So I'm really excited to see how our defense plays. But, of course, if you have a great pass rush, it's really not going to do much if the corners can't cover whatsoever. So it's going to be really interesting, I believe, to see, obviously, how Carson Wentz does, because even though I am rooting for the Seahawks, of course, I want the Seahawks to win. Carson Wentz, I don't want to see a guy just completely lose his career after almost being an MVP, but he just deals with a pretty bad injury. I don't want to see that happen to him. I'm rooting for Carson Wentz to do good in his career, not in this game, but just overall in general. I would like to see how Carson Wentz does. I believe that'll be interesting just overall throughout the season, but this is going to be a pretty big test for the Seattle Seahawks corners. Maybe not the biggest test. It's not like we're going against Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. That's next week, but this test, the Colts, they don't have any huge name wide receivers, but they got some solid guys. Obviously, Paris Campbell, he's very fast. They also have Michael Pittman. I believe T.Y. Hill is actually out for this game. I think that he had a neck injury, but it doesn't show up on the injury report because I believe he's on IR. So T.Y. Hilton's not going to be playing for this game. So that's one less wide receiver to worry about. But Michael Pittman, he can make some plays. He's a pretty good wide receiver. Paris Campbell, all I really know, he's fast. So we'll just have to see how our corners do. I think that this is going to be a very interesting matchup for the Seahawks to kind of prove if they've got, the offense really going to be a tough challenge. It's not like we're playing some easy walk in the park team. We're playing a solid team. It's just that they have some questions on how their offense is going to do. A beat up offensive line. Carson Wentz really hasn't gotten a chance to show anything after he got benched for Jalen Hurts last year. I mean, it's a lot of storylines between the Seahawks defense and the Colts offense. I made my predictions in the season prediction that the Seattle Seahawks would win this game, and that was without Carson Wentz out. But I do think Carson Wentz coming in, I think that'll make it a bit more interesting depending on how Carson Wentz does. But I still do think that this is going to be a win for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to say 31-21. The Seattle Seahawks beat the Colts, and I think that we do it pretty well. Maybe we start off slow, but our offense overall is going to do solid today. But that's not the end of the video. Today, I'm going to show you why my entire family calls me a gambling addict. Now today I have created a 10-leg parlay. For anyone who doesn't know, I have put in 10 bets. I have put in 10 things that need to hit. All of them have to hit this game for me to get this payout, but the payout is huge. So let me just go right through it. My 10 selections: Russell Wilson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. If Russell Wilson has under 2 passing touchdowns, I'm going to be pissed no matter if my money's on the line or not. Chris Carson, 56.5 rushing yards. He looks good. His workouts have been looking pretty crazy. I think he'll do pretty solid. Gerald Everett, 25.5 receiving yards. He's a new addition. Shane Waldron offense. Tight ends are going to be used a little bit more. And boy, oh boy, 25.5 receiving yards. Pretty low. I'm taking the over. Chris Carson, now this one's a bit questionable. 16.5 receiving yards. I thought that was a low number. And, Shane Waldron offense, we saw a couple screens in the preseason. Maybe we'll be using our running backs a little bit more in the passing game. And Chris Carson, although he's not a big receiving back, he's going to be on the field. He could see some action in the receiving game. 16.5 yards, pretty small number. I hit the over on that one. The Seattle Seahawks score a total of 26 points or more, and I took the over. I think we're going to score 31. That's over 26. Boy, oh boy, I'm taking that one. Chris Carson will have at least a touchdown, receiving, rushing. I think he'll do pretty solid. And this is the only bet that I had for the Colts, and maybe this will be what comes back to bite me, but Jonathan Taylor, I think he'll find a way to get a touchdown. We saw a couple pretty easy drives given up by the Seahawks defense in the preseason. Then again, it is preseason, but I think Jonathan Taylor, he's still a very talented running back. I think he'll get a touchdown. Don't think they're going to win the game, though. And then we have Chris Carson will have at least 2 receptions. All he's got to do is catch the ball 2 times and go farther than 17 yards, and we got 2 right there. Gerald Everett will have at least 1 touchdown. All he's got to do is score a touchdown. I think because he's a new addition, we're going to give him a couple opportunities if we are in the red zone to get that ball in the end zone. And then, of course, we have the Seahawks handicap, -3. I could have just said the Seahawks win, but the odds are better if you base this handicap for the Seahawks. Basically, if you don't know what this means, it's saying that the Seattle Seahawks will win by more than 3 points, and if they don't, it doesn't happen. If they do win by over 3 points, you get a little bit better odds because the Seahawks are the favorites for this game. But that's my bet. That's my parlay. $5 on it, $3,000 I could win. That'd be pretty awesome, but I'm fully expecting to lose $5. And, sports betting, I would completely go into this expecting to lose the money that you're going to bet. But, you know, if you want to do some sports betting and you don't feel like putting way too much at risk, or, you know, having way too much risk on the actual thing hitting, you could do something like this. You know, you say, oh, the Seahawks, I want them to win. You think they're going to cover the spread, win by more than 3 points? Boom, bang, pow, you throw it right there, and you can basically double your money. You put $10 in and you get $8 back. So basically, you throw in $10, you get your $10 back, take the $8.70 with you, and then boom, bang, pow. You know, that's a safer bet, but it's less fun, let's be completely honest. I would 100% hope to God that 10 things happen, because I'm an absolute lunatic. But that's my predictions for this game. I think the Seahawks are going to win 31-21. I think the Seahawks are going to do good. Chris Carson looking good off the offseason. I think the Seahawks Shane Waldron offense is going to look pretty interesting for us and do pretty well. And you know, it's not a lot of money, but I'm putting $5 on it. And, you know, if it happens, I'm going to come back next video $3,000 richer. But I fully expect to come back next video $5 broker. Well, that's not a word, but let me know down below in the comments what you thought about this. What are your predictions for this game? Do you think the Seahawks are going to win? Do you think the Colts are going to win? Let me know down below in the comments. If you want to bet, the site that I'm using is MyBookie. I'll put the link in the description for my referral code. It gives me free stuff if you sign up. It doesn't take anything from you. So if you do want to, by some ungodly reason, want to place a 10-leg parlay of your own on the Seattle Seahawks game, go ahead, you know, be my guest and sign up with my referral code. I'll get free stuff. You won't lose anything out. It's a win-win. Nothing happens for you. But that's it for the video. I'm just going to stop rambling. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Have a great day.